Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Citizen Exclusive with your host, 𝗧𝗀𝗀 Thompson. So today we're going to talk a lot about numbers. We're going to focus on the financial sector, specifically the banking industry. I'm at NMB Bank here in Dar es Salaam. So NMB has been Tanzania's most profitable bank for the past couple of years. And today they've just hit a new milestone. They've crossed the 1 trillion mark profit before tax. And with me today, I am with Yonazi Innocent, the Director for Investor Relations, Sustainability and Corporate Communication. Innocent, welcome to the Citizen Exclusive.
Thank you so much, 𝗧𝗀𝗀. Welcome to NMB. It's a great pleasure to have you here, and I look forward to our discussion.
Yeah. So just last week, I was at an event where NMB achieved a milestone in terms of how people get to pay for their services. And today, we're talking about another milestone, profitability, 1 trillion. Can you tell us what has been the strategic approaches that have enabled the bank to reach this milestone? And also we can touch on the sustainability of this growth.
The strategic enablers that have really helped us to reach this milestone is our clear commitment to serve Tanzanians, our clear commitment to have a strategy that not only has clarity, but has purpose. In 2020, as Madam CEO, I'm sure you heard her when she was giving her outstanding speech, when she was talking about how our MTP 2025 has come to an end and we are unveiling MTP 2030, dubbed Agenda 2030. She talked about in 2020, at the height of COVID-19, how this bank took a deliberate step to transform, to become a purpose-driven and performance-led organization. It is during this period whereby we charted a clear strategic direction to transform NMB into the market leader, underpinned by 3 strategic prerogatives. Our number 1 strategy was to deliver winning proposition. Our second strategy was to drive operational efficiency. But more importantly, we wanted to innovate for the future. So the big milestones you have been able to see 𝗧𝗀𝗀 over the past few weeks and over the number of years are a culmination of how well we have articulated our strategy, how well is the resilience of our business model, but more importantly, how disciplined we are in terms of execution. And for that reason, we will not be doing justice to the millions of Tanzanians that have chosen NMB and have helped us to achieve these great milestones if we do not say thank you. So allow me to use this opportunity to convey our sincere gratitude to the millions of Tanzanians that continue to choose NMB Bank as their preferred financial services partner, to the millions of investors that put their every money, 𝗧𝗧, into investing in our counter, to the millions of partners that continue to work with us hand to hand towards this prosperous and historic future. So I'll say we are very thankful, and that is the reason why we've been able to achieve these great milestones.
Okay, now that you've reached this height of growth, and just looking back a couple of years ago, let's say 2010, where the entire profits of the banking industry did not even cross the 1 trillion threshold, and today we're talking about one bank having that profitability. How do you aim to sustain it, and what might be the hurdles that you might face moving forward?
Okay, I think if you look at NMB, we are a very unique bank. From when we were setting our strategy in 2020-2021, when we came up with MTP 2021-2025, our purpose was not to deliver record profits. Our purpose was to transform NMB to become purpose-led and performance-driven. We believe that organizations, they have a role to serve people. And profits are a reflection of how well you serve those people. So today we sit here marking these historic milestones. It's a culmination, it's a testament of how well we have been we've been able to serve the millions of Tanzanians that have chosen NMB Bank PLC. If you look at sustainability, I'll tell you that over the years, our growth prospects, our growth journey has been pretty much robust. We are coming from profitability levels of, let's say, 200 billion. But now we are talking about profitability levels. From a PAT point of view, we are talking about 750 billion. From a PBT point of view, we are talking about 1.1 trillion profitability before tax. This is just to show you that we have been able to grow robustly, but more sustainably. There has not been a year whereby we have not grown tremendously. And this owes to the quality of our strategy. This owes to the discipline of execution, but more importantly, to the uniqueness of this business model that we continue to charter forward.
Yeah.
So sustainability is part and parcel of our growth prospects.
Indeed. So you've mentioned about the medium-term plan, 2021 to 2025, which just ended.
Yes.
And it has been the guiding principle that has led to this robust growth.
Yes.
Now, what was that key turnaround, and what were those hard to achieve decisions? You know, whenever you create a strategy, there's often those ideas that you have that that might be difficult to surmount. Can you highlight to us those?
So at the heart of our strategic imperative and strategic guidance was an investment decision in a number of areas. We call them the strategic investment areas. The number one area we said and we opted to invest in is the quality of our people. We said for us to achieve the great feats that we're achieving today, we need to have the quality of individuals in our bank that will provide tremendous customer service, that will be able to drive our strategy with a keen sense of purpose and direction. That is one. Another area that we were committed to invest in, and we have invested in heavily, is on the technological front. Yeah. We believe we had to transform NMB to become digital-led, because digital is the future, and we made commendable investments in those areas. But another area that we believe is very important to ensure sustainability of our growth is the whole investment in corporate governance, to have robustness of governance that will cushion our bank against any external shocks, will cushion our banks from volatilities that stem from global shockwaves. Yeah. And we believe corporate governance do that very well. But another area is the vastness of our agency network that we believe it's an important that we should invest in, because we had a commitment to ensure we drive financial inclusion. And in Mphoki, if you look at the number of people, if you look at the investment in people, we have invested heavily in terms of our people. We have invested in the quality of of their service delivery. We have invested in terms of our attraction. We have invested in terms of their welfare and well-being. That is why NMB has been recognized as the top employer here in Tanzania, and we are the first bank here in Tanzania to receive the most coveted Association of Tanzania Employers Award, ATE Best Employer Award, just to attest to the quality of investments we have made at the people front. If you talk about technology, whereby it's a strategic investment area, over the past 5 years, we have invested more than TZS 232 billion in our technological infrastructure to provide a bank that is future ready and future proof. And this has really translated into the commendable results that we see from an efficiency gains, from a service delivery, but more importantly, from how we delight our customers. Now, 94% of all our transactions happen elsewhere other than in the branches, in alternative channels. That is to show you the quality of technological investments that we have done. And if you talk about the agency footprint that I said was one among the key strategic areas of investment, we're coming from less than 10,000, only 8,000 agents, and now we are talking about more than 73,000 agents across Tanzania, which are providing us with a scale and ability to serve Tanzanians. And that has really resulted into the 9.9 million customer accounts that you see, the incremental gain value of more than 5 million customer accounts that we have been able to bring into the banking sector foray over this past 5 years period.
Now, let's put it in proper perspective. Yes. The revenue streams. NMB has managed to diversify its revenue streams. We're looking at a time whereby many banks do not rely on traditional lending as the foremost contributor to profit. There's been growth in interest and non-interest income. Yes. How deliberate has NMB been in diversifying the revenue streams? Can you just highlight a bit about that?
So diversification of our revenue stream was part among our strategic decisions. We realized that as a bank, we need to be able to diversify our revenue streams in such a way that our split of interest income as well as non-funded income becomes at sustainable levels. We're coming at a period back in the days when the non-funded income contributed less than 30% of the total income bucket of the organization. But now, as we speak, we are talking about north of 33% of our non-funded income contributing to our total income. This is just to show you that we are very deliberate to ensure that we have a very good and sustainable split of our interest income as well as non-funded income. And what have we been able to do? As I said earlier, the technological investments, if you look at the investments that we have done in NMB Mkononi, our mobile banking platform, is state-of-the-art right now. And this has really driven transaction volume that are yielding positive results that we see from an income point of view. But over the years, we have come up with innovative solutions. And one among them, the proof is in the pudding here. The NMB Tap, this NMB Wrist this is something that this market was not able to witness back in the days. But we have come up with such innovative solutions just to ensure that we drive transactional volumes, but not only to drive transactional volumes, but really to provide the convenience of banking from a banking point of view, so that we can drive the revenue gains that you have been able to see.
Just to touch a bit more on the wearables,
Yes.
It's in the Tanzanian market, it might be a new phenomenon,
Yes.
but we all know that globally this has been in existence for 10 years, give or take.
Yes.
Why have we seen a delayed entry of Tanzania's financial institutions into such technology?
I think Tanzania, I wouldn't really single out Tanzania. I'll talk about Africa in general. If you look at the payment solution journey, Africa compared to Europe, you're talking about two diverse stories. Africa, we have really graduated and really leapfrogged Europe, I would say, from a payment solutions point of view.
Yeah.
We did not really sit in the card era compared to Europe. We jumped from card introduction, we went straight into mobile payments.
Yeah.
And that might be part of the reason for why we have been able to enjoy payments in a very convenient, affordable, and a seamless way from a mobile payments point of view. And that is why things such as Tap and Go were not really at the banking foray in Africa. But what is important now is that the e-commerce global platform, global landscape, really provides for room for such innovations which continue to be part and parcel of our everyday life. So we believe that such innovations can work hand in hand with our already winning areas in mobile payments, just to put Africa in the global map of payment solutions. I would say that's the reason.
Well, indeed. So it's happy to see that Tanzania will now into that space as well. Now,
Yes.
speaking about business performance in general, people often tend to look at the amount that a company spends vis-a-vis how much it's able to make. So that's the cost-to-income ratio.
Yes.
And NMB, you've managed to achieve quite an impressive number, 37%. I think the market average globally is around 50%.
50%.
So that means you're able to have aggressive, I would say, discipline when it comes to spending, but then again, at the same time, we're seeing you're investing. So can you help us just navigate this scenario? How are you able to have such a good cost-to-income ratio, but continue to invest?
Poke, I'll tell you that our clarity of strategy and the discipline of execution of that strategy is really what is, leading to this sort of results. I spoke earlier about how we were very deliberate to invest in the quality of our people. So the productivity levels at NMB Bank, they're at all-time high. Our productivity, the productivity of our individuals, they are really the reason why we are being able to see the commendable efficiency gains that we see with a cost-to-income ratio of 37%. But coupled with that is the investments that we've continued to make in the digital front. So the infrastructure investments, the technological investments that we're making at the digital front, they continue to drive inroads in terms of efficiency. And that's why you see the efficiency gains that you witness today. But what is more important is the fast rate of our income, and in terms of how it grows from a productivity, from an efficiency point of view, and how we have been able to unlock value from an income point of view, as I said earlier, from NMB Mkononi. If you talk about QR, if you talk about alternative solutions and how they bring income growth from a non-funded income point of view, as well as total income from the velocity that we see from a loans point of view, coupled with that is the quality and the discipline that we have from driving efficiency and investing in areas that matter. So the twin strategy of driving income gains, controlling costs by investing, not by cutting costs, but by investing in areas that matter, is really what is driving the efficiency gains that we see today. We have continued to invest tremendously, but what we are witnessing today is that the investments are yielding the positive results. And as a result, we are being able to drive income gains, we are being able to reduce our costs based on efficiency and productivity. And as a result, the bank stands tall as one among Africa's greatest pioneer in terms of efficiency, and we are leading in African continent in terms of efficiency gains. That, I'll say, is the sole reason.
Okay, and tied to that, we are seeing a healthy balance sheet.
Yes.
25% growth over the past couple of years.
Yes.
Now you are at 17.2 trillion.
Yes.
And I think NMB is one among Africa's biggest banks. We only have two representatives from Tanzania.
Yes.
Now let's speak about that. What has been the leading supporting venture that has enabled you to amass such vast balance sheet to reach 17 trillion?
I think the growth story of NMB mirrors the growth story of Tanzania. Tanzania has been in the tremendous growth journey over the past few years. I'll say Tanzania GDP, we have all witnessed in terms of how robust it has been growing. Tanzania GDP, we have seen how well diversified it has been. And NMB, as one among the systemic bank, we have been at the forefront of leveraging on the plethora of opportunities that the market provides. Over the years, we have been able to grow in sectors that really are at the foray of the growth story of Tanzania. Sectors such as MSME, sectors such as agriculture. The household income as well as household expenditure has been one among the areas where we have been able to grow very well. If you look at the credit to private sector, Tanzania as a whole is growing tremendously well.
Yes.
And NMB being positioned as one among the banks of systemic importance, we have been one among the greatest catalysts of that growth story. So what I will say is that our growth within the sectors that are inclusive in nature, agriculture, MSMEs, tourism, individual spending, services, is what has really culminated in the balance sheet growth story that you have seen. And that I'll say from a retail point of view. But in Mphoki, we have been also at the forefront of driving Tanzania's growth journey from a corporate and wholesale side of view. So sectors such as mining, sectors such as manufacturing, NMB has been the greatest, one among the greatest financiers of the growth story of those sectors. So I will say, to put it in the simple words, that our growth story mirrors the tremendous growth story of Tanzania. We have been able to leverage on the plethora of opportunities. We have been able to benefit in the quality of our domestic market. And that is why we have witnessed the growth story that we have really witnessed over the past few years. And that has resulted, as you have rightly said, on the balance sheet size of more than 17.4 trillion, which is a growth on year-on-year basis of more than 25%. But what is more profound is not only the financing aspect. Look at the funding aspect. We are talking about customer deposits of more than 14.2 trillion, which is a growth story of north of 30% year-on-year. That is just to show you that Tanzania is really benefiting from the growth journey that we have started years ago, and we are in the right trajectory to grow further as a country and as a bank.
Okay, and further to that, we are seeing non-performing loans being at 2.5%, which is quite impressive.
Yes.
But then again, one might think that as a bank, as a financial institution, you're resorting to risk aversion because that tends to secure your finances.
Yes.
But then again, also lending has increased by over 20%.
Yes.
So can you tell us, how are you able to balance your NPLs and also boost your lending at the same time? What is it, the underwriting, or what are the strategic approaches here?
So we have a number of strategies that we deploy in this bank. We believe, one, in the quality of our origination. As you have rightly said, our underwriting standards in this bank, they are one among the very best. Because as I told you earlier, Mphoki, we have been investing heavily in the quality of our people. These are the underwriters. These are the quality. These are the credit originators. These are the credit assessors. So the quality of our origination has really improved markedly over the number of years. And that's why we're witnessing the tremendous portfolio gains and the portfolio quality that we see today. But not only from the quality of our origination is the monitoring aspect. And now this owes to the quality of the technological investments that we have done. Our monitoring capabilities, they are one among the very best in this African region. And that is why you see our portfolio quality has been improving markedly and tremendously year after year. That is just to show you that our portfolio is improving, but our book is also improving. And that is to tell you that we are not risk averse, while we are have a very high appetite in growth, but prudent kind of growth. That is what we are advocating for.
Okay, and that lending also translates to the amount that has been extended to the MSMEs and the agri-retail as well. We're seeing over 7 trillion the past couple of years. But now, how are you able to gauge the real impact beyond the economic returns? Because, of course, when you lend, you get the returns. But now, when you lend to MSMEs, when you lend to agri-retail, how do you ensure there's real economic impact in this lending? To the tune of 7 trillion, that's quite impressive.
Okay, I'd like to take you back to 1997. When the government of Tanzania took a very strategic decision to establish NMB Bank PLC, to establish not NMB Bank PLC, to establish NMB, by then the National Microfinance Bank. The reason was to serve the missing middle, the individuals, the MSMEs, the small-scale agrarians. So we believe we have a keen role to play in ensuring that we drive these growth engines of our economy, the MSMEs, the individuals, that my fellow Tanzanians, the agrarians in small scale, in subsistence kind of farming, we, NMB, we believe that our origination, the reason for our inception was partly and was purposefully to serve these individuals. What I'll tell you is that our numbers go beyond the 7 trillion, Mphoki, that you have said. Over the past period of 5 years, if we are able to measure the economic returns, you will note that 28 trillion Tanzania shillings has been given out as loans that have been disbursed to a myriad of sectors, including the sectors, the inclusive sectors that you have mentioned. And as we speak right now, that we have put a closure to the end of our MTP 2025, the outstanding amount is 10 trillion. And the 7 trillion you're talking about is what we have really gave as our own lending to the MSMEs, agrarians, as well as the small, medium enterprises and the individuals, as you have rightly said. So what is the economic returns? The economic returns is what we call the multiplier effect.
Yes.
The multiplier effect of such loans, Mphoki, is the everyday lives that we have been able to touch, from job creation, from food that we have been able to put on the tables, from the stories of children being able to be taken to school because their fathers and their mothers' businesses, albeit at a very small scale, are doing well, from the joy that we have provided at household income and household saving. That is true, the multiplier implication of the loans that we've been able to give. We have really fueled the economic growth trajectory and the growth story of Tanzania in a very purposeful way, in a very inclusive way, whereby no Tanzanian has been left behind. Individuals, agrarians, MSMEs, we believe these are the growth drivers of our country. And to drive inclusive growth, we need to work hand in hand. And that's why we earmark them as one among the part of our strategic intent to finance.
Indeed. Now, when one looks at the banking industry, and oftentimes us as media, when we report on performance, quarterly or annual performance, we look at, for example, we are going to report that NMB has reached a new milestone, over 1 trillion in profit before tax. The general public will see that you are definitely contributing to taxes to the revenue authority, but also dividends to your shareholders, which that's what keeps the business alive. Now, how do you balance your contribution to the community? You've rightly highlighted some of the initiatives that you're undertaking at the community level, the inclusion, but when it comes now to the business approach, you have the investors, you have the shareholders who also want returns, and they're seeing this healthy growth. And then at the end of the day, this growth means more responsibility in contributing to the community. Where do you now create that right balance between business growth, but also community impact?
Thank you. Mphoki, you have seen, Madam Ruth said, NMB has been recognized as the best bank for sustainability in Africa for that particular reason. This bank is a true testimony of how an organization, a modern day organization, is supposed and is able to walk within the lines and within the realms of what we call the triple bottom line approach, whereby you balance the needs of the people, the needs of the planet, and the needs of the environment, and the needs of the economy. If you look at how we balance these conflicting, I would say, or these pressing needs, from a people point of view, we believe profitability is critical so that we can drive shareholders' returns. We can drive shareholders' gains. And over the years, we have been able to do that. With a profitability before tax of 1.1 trillion, our shareholders, they can only testify to what it means from a dividend contribution point of view. Over the past period of 5 years, Mphoki, we have been able to contribute more than 700 billion as dividends that we have given back to our shareholders for their investments within this bank. That is unprecedented, and that is compared to none within this market. So our contribution to dividend payments to our shareholders continues to fuel the growth prospects of this country and other myriad of shareholders that we have across the globe. But what is more important is not only the contribution of dividend in lump sum, is how sustainable that dividend contribution has been over the years. You can attest to that, how sustainably we have been able to grow. We are talking about north of 240 billion dividend contribution in 2024. We are coming from a dividend contribution in the years 2019, 2020 at around 48 billion. So you see how this dividend growth has been able to be reflective of how sustainable we have been able to grow with our shareholders. So our commitment to our shareholders is to continue to providing them returns, not only providing them returns, but providing them returns in ways that are sustainable. There will not come a year whereby we will have to explain ourselves to our shareholders, and we hope so, and so help us God. So sustainability is part and parcel of our commitment to our shareholders. That is one, to the people. What about the community? We believe that we are a bank that sits at the very heart of Tanzania economy. We have a purpose to play, to drive and to fuel Tanzania's growth story from a social, from an economic prosperity point of view. We believe that we have to give back to the community that we serve. And that is why we have saved apart 1% of our profit before tax every year to earmark to CSI initiatives. And we are one among the very first pioneers for that practice. You'll see others have started doing that, and we pride ourselves as the market leader in that approach. We are the sustainability leaders, and it shows on how the market follows that suit. How much has been the contribution in 𝗶𝘀 over the past period of our MTP 2025? More than 23 billion has gone into health, has gone into education, has gone into environmental stewardship, and has gone into youth entrepreneurship. This 23 billion, 𝗶𝘀, has gone to impact the life of mothers, the life of children, to give education, and to provide hope for the future that lies ahead. We have built a school in Bai, and we are ready and able to hand it over to the government, as Madam CEO once alluded today in today's session. That school in 𝗶𝘀 is for kids with special needs. 5 billion 𝗧 shillings has gone into construction of that school. This is just to show you how we continue to impact the livelihoods of millions of Tanzanians as they continue to choose us as their preferred financial services partner. So that balancing act between the needs of our shareholders and the needs of communities continues to be at the heart of our sustainability principle. And that's why we believe that we are here to serve not only the customers, the shareholders, but the community that operates and given us the license to operate.
Okay. So now NMB is already at the apex when it comes to the domestic financial industry.
Yes.
Might we see any possible expansion beyond the East African or even African market? We are seeing that is now a bit of a strategic approach when it comes to banking. You've mentioned you have one of the largest or the largest agency network, over 73,000 agents within the country. And just recently, at a regional level, we saw Nedbank is acquiring a Kenyan bank, yes, and CBA. Yeah. So might there be any acquisitions by NMB in the near future as you aim to expand?
Okay, you heard my CEO very loud and clear today in today's event when she was unveiling MTP, or rather Agenda 2030. Yeah. She said it very loud and clear that one among our strategic intents and into our MTP that is beginning in 2026 to 2030 is to grow regionally. We are a bank that is committed to ensure that we have that regional expansion. Over the years, we have been taking a prudent approach towards our growth journey, and inorganic growth will form part and parcel of our new growth frontier, our new growth strategy. And watch this space. We believe that the opportunity is there, the time is there, and we have the capability. You see our capital position. It tells you that we are a bank that is not only ready, is able to drive that regional expansion. So when the right time comes, we will communicate to the myriad of stakeholders that we serve that NMB is elsewhere. So watch this space, and we're going to do that prudently. And just to add to that, 𝗶𝘀, we have really contributed to the economy of Tanzania in ways that are tremendous. Yeah. Not only from a community investment point of view, not only from a dividend point of view, but from a tax contribution. We contributed over this past period of 5 years more than 2.7 cumulative total tax contribution, with an income tax contribution of more than 1.2 trillion that has gone to fuel Tanzania economy. So our growth journey, the next growth journey as we expand within the region, we are going to be a bank that not only touch the livelihoods of Tanzanians, but we're going to touch the livelihoods of other citizens of Africa in another market. So that's our commitment, and that is our aspiration, that we have really contributed meaningfully to Tanzania, and we are ready and willing now to also contribute to the regional expansion and Africa's renaissance.
Okay, Mr. Yonazi, we'll end on that note.
Thank you so much.
You were with me, 𝗶𝘀 Thompson, for the Citizen Exclusive. We are at NMB headquarters in Dar es Salaam. We were with Innocent Yonazi, the Director, Investor Relations, Sustainability and Corporate Communication. Until next time, that's a wrap.